Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Happy 4th of July. Today we're going to be going through a bit of a tour through the studio, and specifically I wanted to take inventory of all of the custom Lego builds that we've got lying around here. For the past year and a half we've been teaming up with some of the most talented Lego designers from all over the world, building some of the best Lego custom creations. And for the first time today, actually, I did a count of all of those Lego custom creations that we managed to put together in the last year and a half. I'd say it totals over 70, not including color alterations or slight modifications. So you might have seen it pop up on the screen earlier in the video, but everything in our web store is 15% off starting today, July 4th, and going all the way through the weekend. That's www.brickvault.toys. So if you have been maybe holding off on getting some instructions that you wanted for a while, maybe now's the time. Or if you have just discovered this weird little niche on the internet right now, why don't you come along the tour with us and see what we've been putting together? I totally forgot to add this until just now, but that 15% off code is July 4. That's all you have to enter in. That's July 4. Enter that promo code at checkout. Should get you 15% off, lasting now and all the way through to the weekend. Okay, that's it. Back to the video. So starting off in the front room with some relatively dramatic light, we have a couple more display stands set up, and nearly everything you see here is custom built. So let's go right at the very top. This is from David Zambito. We've got the Eagle 5 from Spaceballs, an amazing Winnebago model. All the custom characters are built from regular minifig pieces that Ramon just made combinations of. And then moving down is David Duperron's Taxi from Fifth Element. Wonderful curved smooth pieces make up the outside. Check out the video if you want to see what the undercarriage looks like or the interior. Really detailed model. He might be working on something from the same universe. Then Jarek has built the Dreadnought, or a Dreadnought, from Warhammer 40k. It's got a bunch of different interchangeable arms and weapons, just like you can do in the normal game. And then Dave Slater has built the UCS DeLorean. He was working on this model for about a year, and yes, by the way, half the builders we work with all happen to be named Dave or David in some capacity, but Dave Slater's UCS model is pretty much completely unmatched. He managed to get some amazing angles to work on this model. The interior is just as detailed, if not more so, as what you see on the outside. And of course, the wheels fold up. Now we've moved on to the Nicola collection. He has built a ton of the major vehicles, and possibly more so in the future, for Mad Max Fury Road. So that would total the Gigahorse, War Rig, Nuxcar, and Elvis, coming in at slightly above minifig scale. They're detailed excellently, and I highly recommend you check out those vids. Now moving down is a build from Kevin. Kevin has made the USS Enterprise NCC 1701A UCS model. This is the ship that you see in a lot of the original Star Trek movies. That pizza head shape of the ship has got a really interesting build technique, and he's one of the few guys that managed to pull off such a large version of a USS Enterprise. It's a very strange shape of a model. David Duperron's spinner is at the bottom here. Looks really cool, being suspended a bit higher with that special stand that he made for it. Excellent details all around. I realize now that I can't talk so much about each model because there are so many to get through, but needless to say, it's one of the more colorful sci-fi builds that we have in the studio, and I really loved the way that it pops against a lot of the other displays. And now we've moved on to the second case. We've got Martin Lauda's bust of a T-800 Terminator. I don't know if this is exact one-for-one scale. My guess would be a little bit smaller perhaps, but it's absolutely massive, and the eyes turn on, and the head moves back and forth, and the display stand is awesome. And we're moving on to Nicola's Thunderjaw from Horizon Zero Dawn. This is probably the most iconic beast you'll ever fight from the game, and his use of those white panel pieces from Technic work absolutely perfectly for the stylistic shape of this mechanical beast. Peter Brookdale, aka Cave God, and Marshall Banana's design of the Sandcrawler has made it into the studio here. It does have motor functions. I think we're actually doing a little bit of an update for the instructions on that soon, but the UCS Sandcrawler can basically basically not be beat in terms of awesome details. My brother's AH-1Z Viper attack helicopter is a model he's been working on for many years. It's gone through a lot of different stages, and it fits perfectly to minifig scale. I actually got to sit in one at Fleet Week not too long ago. And also built to minifig scale is Flying Waffle's Colonial Viper Mark II. Probably one of the best versions of the model that you're going to see at this size, and right next to it is another one of his designs, the E-Wing Starfighter. According to Legends comics, this was the ship that was supposed to have come after the X-Wing and be more powerful than the X-Wing. Now, if you are a Battlestar Galactica fan, we have gotten to the UCS section of these models. They'll all end up in the display cases not too long from now. Coming from David Duperron, you've got the Cylon Raider, the UCS Colonial Viper, again in the much larger size, and the completely weaponized and decked out Raptor. Each one of these models is an absolute beast. They're really big. And then we haven't made a Clone Wars section of a display yet, but we definitely have something like that on our list. David Buckles ATTE is a pretty recent build, and he managed to get the plate detailing angles on the outside to look so good. That thing's got seats for 18 minifigs on the inside, tons of details. There's Ramon. Okay, that's awkward. And now we're looking at Felix Jench's Red Fox. This is a design that he put together, I think, quite a while ago, but also did a really excellent update when we were talking with him about putting the design up in the web store. Now we've entered the dark dungeon of the Batcave. The designer Lucas has had an itch, as you can see, to design all of his favorite Lego Batmobiles, and he got pretty darn good at it over the years. They're all very accurate designs. They all pretty much scale one for one with each other and at minifig scale, and it's hard to say which one's my favorite. Oh, hey, there is the AT-ACT, or more specifically, this is the minifig scale AT-AT body with the AT-ACT panels and head attached to it. You'll see the AT-AT later. Now we are looking at Commander Keller's Resurgent Class Star Destroyer. This is from the later episodes, the ones that are currently being released, 7, 8, and 9. Commander Keller's plate design detailing on the top essentially can't be matched, and it's much stronger than any original UCS build. Now we're in the main display room with Yavin. We're going through, there's a few more custom models here in the displays. Sawyer has built the Speed Racers Mach 5. It's right next to the Speed Racer collection. We've just got a bunch of collection stuff down here. And if we move on over a couple of cases down, we've got another custom build from Sawyer. This is the minifig scale, or maybe slightly upscaled version of the DeLorean from Back to the Future. The gull wing doors open vertical, even at this small size, and personally I think that hood detailing is the best. You can also make those wheels fold down just like what you saw from the movies. Okay, we're moving on to another display case. You can see a few more of Lucas's small builds for the 1989 Batmobile and Tumbler, but then when you go all the way down, we have another Dave Slater build. This is something that he also worked on for about a year, and the 1989 Batmobile here also has the ability to break away and turn into the Bat Missile. Hidden machine guns, the whole shebang. Even the cockpit or seats open up the same way they do in the movie. Now, you saw the AT-ACT earlier. This is the original design for the AT-AT coming from Rich Boy J. Perfect minifig scale walker. We're gonna set up a little bit more of a battle scene with some snow speeders. That is Flying Waffles snow speeder. You can get it in gray and white. Also minifig scale. We're getting into the universal minifig scale Star Wars builds. As you can see at the very top, we've got Jarek's TIE Fighters. So you got the Interceptor, the Bomber. The Bomber's the biggest one. The TIE Advanced, which from this angle you can't see that very subtle curved smooth detailing in the back. It's probably my favorite little build aspect to maybe any of the TIE Fighter builds. And then of course your classic TIE Fighter on the very end. Now the middle case has a lot of micro builds. The ones you see on the very end are the Rebel Fleet, most of which are designs from myself. I think Intert did the X-Wing there. Ramon helped with the U-Wing, doesn't matter. And then you get a couple of Carillion freighters, the Falcon, the Ghost, and the Outrider. Personally, I'm super proud of my little Ghost there. And of course, if you wanted to set up another battle scene, you've got all the main original trilogy designs for the TIEs as well. Everything here scales at a 1 stud equals 2 meter scale, so these ships are all the proper size compared to each other, including the Slave 1 and GR75, though those are not models that we currently have the instructions for. Shout out to Mort ESV. Now there is some more Jarek TIE Fighter builds. These are the first order ones. The designs are slightly slightly different. Like the arms themselves that lead out to the wings are different. Of course, the color combination's different. You got the regular one and the First Order Special Forces, and then Jarek also did the TIE Defender. This is probably the favorite version of any TIE vehicle outside of the original trilogy. And now we're moving down to some Clone Wars stuff, or at least prequel era stuff. So you've got the Republic gunship from David Buckles. Lucas did an excellent little Republic fighter tank, and he has made an update to that build. If you want to see what that looks like, let me know in the comments. Also, Lewis AAT battle tank has captured some incredibly smooth curves, but when you see the ARC 170 scaled with the rest of these models, you realize how big this fighter actually was. That's a 3-seater. Awesome detailing there. Thomas Jenkins has some more ships from this era that are coming down the line pretty soon, but something tells me the ARC 170 is probably one of the most beloved starfighters from any generation within Star Wars. Lewis also recolored the AAT battle tank to the Separatist colors if you wanted it outside of what you normally saw from Naboo. And speaking of which, here are some Vulture droids, though you see these guys in pretty much every single Clone Wars battle. This design came from my brother. He's got a pretty good technique that gets those mixel joints to work for you, and you can pose them pretty darn well for walking. And now this is Intert's Naboo N1 Starfighter. Talk about curves. His build technique to get the brick-built angles on either side are just really subtle and fun, and it's hard to get a ship that smooth looking that good in Lego bricks. Separatist coloration for the Vulture droid, like you saw earlier, and these are the Bounty Hunter Chase speeders built by Flying Waffle. Remember, all these Star Wars ships and vehicles you see flashing by the screen are built to minifig scale, meaning they all will fit in the same universe together. So speaking of which, we're looking at Yavin. Pete Brookdale, aka Cave God, has built the Zeta class shuttle from Rogue One at minifig scale. It is motor powered. You can open and close the wings. It's got an interior for the cockpit, and it lights up. So, yeah, this is probably one of the more impressive custom models that we've got here in the studio, and the detailing is absolutely excellent. We're moving down to Jarek's A-Wing. Specifically, this is an R22 that you saw from Rebels or something. Now we've got the RZ-1 A-Wing, the ones that you saw from the original trilogy. You can get them in a ton of different colors. There is Jarek's X-Wing. He spent such a long time designing this particular ship. It can be built in a few different colors, and you can really tell when you build a model well when you inspire so many other designers to adopt certain techniques. Like I've seen a lot of other custom X-Wings after this one was designed, really inspiring so many other ones in the future, which is such a cool thing. There's another one of his A-Wings that we managed to light up, and it may not look like we've updated the Ghost in a while, but digitally it's actually very close, and we're gonna order the pieces soon and just reskin the whole thing in one foul swoop. But there it is, the UCS Ghost. That was a collaborative project between my brother and Sean Miller, built of course to minifig scale. It's got a full interior, and this was one of the first models, in fact, that we put up in the web store for instruction. So that definitely was a fun and big learning experience for us, and I hope you guys enjoy what that 2.0 reskin is going to look like. Now here in the back we've got the B-Wing. We haven't figured out the final resting place for it yet, or more accurately, the tarmac where we want to put it has not yet been built up because we are still working on some lights. Long story short, Intert's B-Wing is absolutely amazing. I love the built-in battle damage detail. And in the back room, we've got the large, very large, 4 base plate thick Tribune Tower. It's a massive skyscraper. It fits in with the modular creator size buildings. It's basically the size of 4 at the bottom. And this too, like the Ghost, was a collaborative design between my brother Charlie and the designer Sean Miller. It lights up. It's got a big old American flag at the top, so hey, happy 4th of July. And this marks the beginning of probably working on a lot more city-based builds for things in the future. Dave Slater's got a 1969 Corvette. Incredibly detailed model. The lights swivel up. There's a lot of interesting aspects about how the way this thing was built. Dave Buckles has some nice little AT-RTs, also fitting in well with the Clone Wars era. And then we just finished off a 2.0 version of Caleb Rick's U-Wing. So if you remember the last designer video on it before, this one actually looks a bit different, though very similar. Lots of pieces on the inside have changed. It's super strong. Now it's got landing gear, and the doors open a lot smoother. Full video on that very soon in the future. Aaron Newman's Ballroom Balrog looks absolutely awesome. I think I've got to build a flame whip for it now. And anyways, I believe, guys, that is going to be it for this studio tour. Remember to check out our web store. That's www.brickvault.toys. You can click the link in the description below. If you want to see any of the full videos from the clips that I've been showing you guys, they can all be found on the web store as well if you just click on any of the models that you'd like to see more of. Let me know what types of models you think would be cool for us to build in the future, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.